I came home early from my girls' trip to surprise my husband. And what I overheard from the corner of the door. Marriage is a nightmare, bro. If it wasn't for her family's money, I'd be gone already. I quietly left. 5 days later, he understood what I did. So, I never thought I'd be one of those people. You know, the ones who pull off the quiet, calculated, devastating revenge in slow motion. I used to read these stories online or watch the movies and think, man, that's some next-level drama. Glad that's not me. But here we are. This isn't a throwaway account because honestly I don't care anymore. And some of you are probably going to think I'm crazy or dramatic or completely unhinged. Maybe I am. But I promise you I am not making this up and I'm not exaggerating either. If anything, I'm trying to tone myself down because my hands are still shaking and it's been a minute. Sorry for the length. I'm typing this on my phone sitting in a coffee shop in downtown Phoenix right now. My own place feels different these days. I'll start from a kind of weird place, not the absolute beginning of our relationship because honestly that was all fairly normal. Almost boring really. You don't need the rom-com meet cute or the engagement story. It's not important. I'm just going to jump to about a month ago. Things were fine. Yeah, that's the word. Fine. Not amazing, not terrible. Just fine. We had just celebrated our 3-year anniversary. We went to that fancy Italian place down by the waterfront, Antonio's, you know the one? He even posted a photo of us, all smiles, captioning it, 3 years with my incredible wife. So much more to come. Total BS obviously, but at the time I ate it up like the naive little idiot I was. I mean, we had our moments. Little squabbles about whose turn it was to empty the dishwasher in our San Diego apartment, or him leaving his socks everywhere. The usual stuff, right? I tried. God, I really tried. I'd leave him little notes, make his favorite breakfast burritos on Sundays, try to surprise him with concert tickets to that band he loved. I thought we were building something. You know, like a life. The future. Turns out he was building something alright, just not with me. So, about 2 weeks after our anniversary, my best friend Chloe calls me up. She's like, listen, I just found this incredible deal on a girls' trip to Austin for a long weekend. We need this. Think tacos, live music, no responsibilities, just us. Please tell me you're in. And honestly, I was hesitant. I hadn't spent a full weekend away from David since forever. I always felt this weird guilt like I should be home managing the house, being the good wife. Plus, David always got weird when I traveled. He'd act all passive-aggressive, send me texts like, house is a disaster, missing my chief organizer, or, the dog is depressed without you. Total manipulation in hindsight. But Chloe was relentless. And a part of me, a tiny buried part, was tired of being the good wife. I needed a break. So I told David about it. He pulled his usual pouty face, but surprisingly he actually said okay. He even said, have fun, babe. You deserve it. I'll hold down the fort. I should have known something was up right there. He never just says oi. The trip was planned for a Thursday to Sunday. I spent days getting ready, packing, making sure David had enough frozen meals, writing out instructions for the apartment complex's weird recycling rules. You know, all the thankless tasks that go into keeping a household running. Wednesday morning, I packed my bags, gave David a big kiss, told him I'd miss him. He hugged me a little awkwardly, then went back to his video game. I rolled my eyes, grabbed my suitcase and headed for the airport. The flight to Austin was fun, filled with Chloe's endless jokes and our excited chatter about the weekend. We checked into our hotel, got settled and immediately hit up a taco truck. Everything felt light, easy, exactly what I needed. But here's the thing. I got this weird text late Wednesday night, after we'd had a few margaritas and were just lounging around. It was from my Uncle Ben back in San Diego. Just a quick, hey Anna, your dad's got that weird leak in the guest bathroom again. I think David tried to fix it but it's making a mess. Can you tell him to call a plumber? Now David is not handy. At all. The idea of him trying to fix anything beyond a light bulb is hilarious. And the guest bathroom? We rarely used it, so a leak there was odd. My mind immediately went to the worst case scenario. A burst pipe, water damage, total disaster. My family, bless their hearts, are very old school. They're super generous, helped us out with the down payment on our condo, help with bills sometimes, but they're also very particular about their property. They'd freak if there was a flood. I tried to call David but he didn't answer. Texted him, no reply. I started to get this anxious knot in my stomach. The fun of the trip started to fade. I talked to Chloe about it and she saw my stress. Look, she said, you're clearly worried. Why don't you just hop on the first flight back tomorrow morning? We can hang out here, but I know you won't relax until you see what's going on. It felt excessive but I couldn't shake the worry. So Thursday morning while Chloe was still asleep, I quietly booked a ridiculously early flight back to San Diego. Didn't tell David, of course. Figured it would be a surprise. I'd fix whatever disaster was unfolding, and then surprise him with a romantic dinner or something. You know, still trying to be the good wife. The flight was early. The Uber ride from San Diego International was quick. I got to our apartment building around 9:30 a.m. My heart was pounding, a mix of anxiety about the leak and excitement to surprise him. I quietly unlocked the front door. The apartment was silent. Too silent. No sounds of dripping water. No chaos. Just silence. I walked through the living room into the kitchen. No signs of a leak. Everything was perfectly normal. My brow furrowed. Okay, maybe Uncle Ben exaggerated? I thought. I glanced at the guest bathroom. Door slightly ajar. I pushed it open. No leak. Nothing. The bathroom was spotless. That's when I heard it. David's voice. From our bedroom. Low, muffled, but undeniably him. He wasn't playing video games. He was talking on the phone. And it sounded intense. My first thought was, oh, maybe he's on a work call. I started to walk towards the bedroom to surprise him, a little relieved that there was no leak. But then as I got closer, I heard a specific phrase that stopped me dead in my tracks. Marriage is a complete nightmare, bro. My entire body froze. The air left my lungs. I pressed myself against the wall, just outside the bedroom door, where I knew he couldn't see me if he looked up. I couldn't breathe. My heart hammered against my ribs like a trapped bird. His voice was clear now, casual, almost laughing. I wake up every day regretting my decision. My vision blurred. Regretting what decision? Marrying me? My blood ran cold. Then the final brutal blow. His voice, nonchalant, dismissive, the voice of a stranger. If it wasn't for her family's money, I'd be gone already. My family's money. My family's money. Not our money. Not our shared life. Just their money. That's what this was. That's what I was. Walking at him. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't storm in there and confront him. That's what the old Anna would have done. The desperate, clingy, good wife, Anna. But that Anna, she died right there, pressed against the wall, listening to her husband unravel her entire world. A cold, clear resolve settled over me, like a layer of ice over a burning lake. I quietly, meticulously backed away from the door. Every step was deliberate, silent. I tiptoed out of the apartment back to the front door, unlocked it and slipped out. Closed it softly behind me. Like I was never there. I walked out of the building, down the street, not knowing where I was going. Just walking. My phone was dead. I didn't care. I needed to think. I needed to breathe. And I needed to plan. Because that smug, arrogant bastard just buried our marriage with his own mouth. And he didn't even know it yet. So yeah, I spent the next 4 hours wandering around San Diego like a ghost. I ended up at a park, just sitting on a bench watching kids play, feeling completely detached from my own life. My mind was racing, replaying his words, that casual, dismissive tone. Nightmare, bro. Regretting my decision. Her family's money. It was like a loop drilling itself into my brain. I thought about all the times my parents or Uncle Ben had helped us out with bills or a car repair, or that ridiculous vacation David insisted we take to Hawaii last year. He always acted so humble, so appreciative. Oh, your family's so generous, babe. We're so lucky. And I, like the blind idiot I was, believed him. I thought it was just them being kind, loving. Not that they were a cash cow to be milked. Around 1:30 p.m. my phone finally buzzed back to life. I'd left it in power-saving mode, thank God. A few texts from Chloe. Where'd you go, girl? Everything okay? I replied, had to come back early, plumbing emergency at the apartment. All good though, just taking care of it. Why? A cold, calculated lie. The first of many. Then I called Chloe. My voice was surprisingly steady. Hey look, the plumbing thing was a disaster, but it's handled. Don't worry about me. You guys stay and have fun in Austin. I'll just chill here. Probably just get some takeout and binge watch something. He sounded disappointed but understood. I knew she'd never suspect a thing. My flight was supposed to land around 6:00 p.m. So around 5:45 p.m. I Ubered back to the airport. I actually walked into the arrivals area just like I was getting off a plane. Walked past the baggage claim looking tired, just like a normal person returning from a trip. I even put my sunglasses on just in case my eyes betrayed the deadness inside. I texted David, just landed, babe. Be home in about 20 minutes. The silence from him was deafening. He probably thought he still had a few more hours of freedom. I unlocked the door to our apartment around 6:20 p.m. He was in the living room, playing that stupid war game on his PlayStation. He looked up, startled, controllers in hand. His face went from surprise to something else. Almost annoyed. But he quickly plastered on a smile. Babe, you're back. That was fast, I thought you were coming later. He got up, walked over and pulled me into a hug. I hugged him back. Felt nothing. He kissed my forehead. I returned the kiss right on his lips. His cheating, lying, conniving lips. It felt like kissing a corpse. My own corpse. Yeah, plumbing disaster, remember? Had to cut it short. I said, my voice light, casual. How was your day, honey? Anything exciting happen? He shrugged, pulling away. Not just chilling. Missed you though. The lie hung in the air between us, thick and putrid. He had no idea what I knew. And that, right there, was my power. Over the next few days I became an actress. A damn good one. I cooked his favorite meals, the ones I knew he secretly thought his mom made better. I watched his stupid sports shows, pretended to be interested. I even let him initiate intimacy, grimacing internally, thinking, you have no idea whose lips you're kissing, you pathetic user. I was the perfect wife. The perfect mark. Meanwhile, behind the scenes I was a silent assassin. First thing I called my dad. Not about the leak, which obviously never existed. I just said, Hey Dad, thinking of changing up my investments. Want to talk to your financial advisor about consolidating some of my accounts. My dad, bless his practical heart, was thrilled. Great idea, honey. Always good to be proactive. I'll set up a call with Mark for you. Mark, my family's longtime financial advisor. The man who had been handling my small inheritance, my trust fund, since I was 21. The same man David referred to as her family's money. Oh, the irony. The next day I had a Zoom call with Mark, the advisor, not the husband. He was his usual cheerful, professional self. I told him I wanted to move everything into a new separate account solely in my name. Just trying to simplify things, Mark, I said, sounding all innocent. Less joint stuff, cleaner portfolio. He bought it. Hook, line, and sinker. Told me it would take a few days to process, a few more for the funds to transfer fully. Just keeping it all separate like I always advise, he chirped. Oh, I was keeping it separate all right. Separate from David. Then I called my lawyer. Not David's lawyer, obviously. My own. Sarah's friend, actually. She's a shark, a no-nonsense family attorney named Ms. Davies. I said, I need to talk to you about some potential marital issues. I kept it vague, just said I needed to explore my options silently. She understood immediately. Come in Monday morning. And don't tell him anything. I was calm. Too calm. It was unsettling even to myself. David, meanwhile, was completely oblivious. He was back to his usual routine, scrolling on his phone, occasionally grunting about his video games. He didn't notice the slight tremor in my hand when I handed him his coffee. He didn't notice the way my eyes lingered on him, not with love, but with a chilling detachment. The poker face was on point. So the acting continued. I swear I deserved an Oscar. David was still clueless, living his best life, probably texting his bro about how he was holding down the fort, while his wife was off on a trip. Little did he know the fort was crumbling brick by brick. Monday morning, bright and early, I told David I had a dentist appointment. Which technically was a lie. I was getting my teeth cleaned, but by a lawyer. Miss Davies' office was in a sleek building downtown, all glass and steel. She was exactly what I needed, sharp, direct, no nonsense. I laid it all out. The overheard conversation. Her family's money. His general dismissiveness. I told her I wanted out cleanly, quietly, and strategically. She listened, taking notes, her expression unreadable. When I finished, she looked at me over her reading glasses. Ms. Lewis, she said, you've got solid grounds. And the good news is, your financial advisor has already processed the transfer of your separate assets, correct? I nodded. Excellent. That's a huge step. It means he won't be able to touch your inheritance or trust while we proceed. A small, grim satisfaction bloomed in my chest. One less thing for him to exploit. She outlined the next steps, a legal separation agreement, then divorce papers. We needed to gather all joint financial documents, identify community property, and figure out the exact moment to strike. Timing is everything in these situations, she said, her voice like steel. You want to be prepared when you reveal your hand. I went home still the perfect wife. David was surprised I was back so early from the dentist. Everything okay, babe? He asked, not really looking up from his phone. Yep, cavity-free, I chirped, making myself a green juice. Tasted like triumph. That afternoon I started phase 2, the quiet purge. Not his stuff. My stuff. The sentimental stuff. The things that tethered me to him. I started with photos. Our wedding album. Anniversary pictures. Vacation shots. All the memories I now knew were built on lies and resentment. I didn't rip them up or burn them. Too dramatic, too loud. I just meticulously scanned them, put them on a hard drive, then moved the physical albums to a box in the deepest corner of my closet. Out of sight, out of mind. For now. Then it was the gifts. The stupid necklace he gave me for our first anniversary. The engraved watch for our second. The framed print he bought me after my grandma passed away. Each one now tainted. I packed them away, methodically. Not with anger, but with a chilling, almost surgical precision. Like I was removing a tumor. I also started documenting everything. His late nights out, the vague excuses, the times he ignored my calls, the times he'd make a snide comment under his breath that I used to brush off. I created a hidden folder on my phone filled with dates, times, brief notes. Call me paranoid, but I figured if he was going to accuse me of being crazy, I'd have the receipts. The real challenge was maintaining the facade. Every, I love you, honey, from him felt like a splash of acid. Every hug felt like a trap. I found myself subtly pulling away just a millimeter at a time so he wouldn't notice. I stopped asking him about his day. I stopped making him dinner every night, saying I was tired, or had a big lunch. Small shifts. Nothing he'd question. He probably just thought I was settling into marital complacency. Which, again, was exactly what he thought he wanted. My parents, bless their hearts, called almost daily. Everything okay with David, Anna? My mom would ask, a little too casually. He seems a bit quiet. My family knew him as the charming, grateful son-in-law. The one who was so devoted. My dad would ask about our finances, still subtly vetting Mark, the advisor, for me. I'd reassure them, oh, David's just stressed with work. And yes, Mark's been great with the portfolio, Dad. So proactive. More lies. So many lies. It felt dirty but necessary. Chloe was the only one I could hint to. I told her David had been acting weird, and I was feeling distant. She picked up on it immediately. Anna, you need to put yourself first. You've given him everything. She didn't know the half of it, but her validation was a lifeline. I confided in her about the financial transfers, not the why, just the what. Just streamlining things, you know? Less clutter. She just said, good for you, girl. Always protect your assets. Maya was just as supportive, sending me funny memes about terrible husbands, unknowingly fueling my quiet resolve. The 5 days leading up to the final confrontation were surreal. I felt like I was living in a glass box watching myself perform. The polite smiles, the casual touches, the manufactured laughter at his bad jokes. Every evening as he settled onto the couch with his game, I'd retreat to my home office, supposedly working, but really I was finalizing my escape plan. I had a small bag packed hidden in the back of my car. Essentials. Just in case. I called Miss Davies one last time on Thursday morning. I'm ready, I said, my voice barely a whisper. The funds have cleared. I have everything I need. She confirmed the plan. The official papers would be served Friday morning, right after he left for work. He wouldn't see it coming. That Thursday night was our last normal night. He was in a good mood actually. Made a really bad pasta dish that he thought was gourmet. Complimented my hair. Kissed me goodnight. I lay there beside him, completely awake, listening to his soft snores, imagining his face when he realized what was happening. It was a dark thought, a petty thought, but after everything, it felt like a tiny, necessary act of self-preservation. I needed him to understand that I knew, and that I was done. So the day came. Friday morning. I woke up before him as usual. Made coffee. Sent him off with a kiss just like any other day. Have a good one, babe, I chirped, forcing the smile. He grinned back, clueless. You do, Anna. See ya. He had no idea. As soon as his car pulled out of the driveway, I walked back inside. The apartment felt lighter, cleaner, like a heavy weight had just lifted. I texted Ms. Davies. He's gone. An hour later, the process server arrived. Discreet. Professional. He handed me a receipt, said, papers served. I just nodded. It was done. The legal bomb had been dropped. I spent the morning cleaning. Really cleaning. Not just the surface stuff. I scrubbed our bedroom floor, opened all the windows to air out the apartment, even though it was a little chilly. It was symbolic, I guess. Airing out the lies. Purging the toxicity. My phone started buzzing around 10:30 a.m. His work number. I let it ring. He usually didn't call me during work unless it was an emergency. He called again. And again. I didn't answer. I just kept cleaning. Then the text started. Anna, what is this? Did you get some papers? What the hell is going on? Call me. I just scrolled through them, a cold smile on my face. He still didn't get it. He still thought this was some kind of mistake. Some kind of misunderstanding. Then the calls started coming from his personal cell. Over and over. Non-stop. My phone vibrated endlessly on the kitchen counter. I ignored them all. I was making myself a smoothie. Oat milk, berries, spinach. Healthy. Clean. Unlike my marriage. The next few hours were a blur of his increasingly desperate attempts to reach me. He called every 10 minutes. Left voicemails. Texted. Anna, this is not a joke. Call me now. My lawyer is saying, what did you do? This is crazy. We just celebrated our anniversary. You're being vindictive. Anna, please. I know you're mad, but this is extreme. I didn't reply. Not a single word. I was eating my smoothie, watching an old movie. Pure bliss. Around 2:00 p.m. my doorbell rang. Hard. Repeatedly. I checked the peephole. David. His face was red, contorted with rage and confusion. He was hammering on the door, yelling my name. I didn't open it. I just walked away. Went to the back of the apartment. Let him rage. He probably tried to pick the lock, I don't know. He called my phone, yelling into the voicemail. Anna, open the damn door. What kind of sick game is this? He stayed for about an hour, yelling, calling, trying the door. Then finally he left. I heard his car squeal out of the driveway. Silence again. God, that silence was beautiful. Later that afternoon his mom called me. Oh, this was a special one. She's usually all sweetness and light. Anna, darling, what is going on? David just called me. He sounds so distressed. What has gotten into you? I took a deep breath. He's been served, Helen. I'm divorcing him. Her voice went shrill. Divorce? But why? You two are so happy. He says you just suddenly snapped. He knows why, I said, my voice flat. Ask him about the girl he was with last week. Ask him about what he said on the phone. Silence. A long, stunned silence. Then, I don't know what you're talking about, Anna. You must be mistaken. David would never. I cut her off. Have a nice day, Helen. And I hung up. Blocked her number. I was done being polite. Then his dad called. He was more controlled but just as accusatory. Anna, you're making a huge mistake. This is our family. You can't just throw away 3 years like this. 3 years of him using me and my family for money, you mean? I said, a bitter laugh escaping me. No, I'm not throwing it away. I'm reclaiming my life. He sputtered. This is not how you handle things, young lady. You need to talk to him. He's distraught. He can be distraught somewhere else, I said. My lawyer will be in touch. Hung up. Walked. Over the next few days his friends started messaging me. Victor, who had been my only actual friend on his side, texted, Anna, he's a mess. He keeps saying you're crazy, that you just blindsided him. He doesn't get it. I replied, he will. Victor sent back a sad emoji. I'm sorry, Anna. For everything. Me too, Victor, I typed. Me too. He called me 27 times in 1 hour. 27. I counted. They were all blocked numbers after the first few, but my phone logged them. His desperation was palpable even through the silence of my screen. He left voicemails. Anna, please. What is this? I don't understand. I just need to talk to you. I'm sorry if I said something wrong. I was drunk. This is an overreaction. You're going to regret this. Think about our life. Our future. You can't do this to me. You can't just take everything. I swear to God, Anna, if you don't call me back, I'm going to. He hung up. I just let the voicemails pile up. A monument to his downfall. The quiet understanding came on the 5th day. I was out for a walk in Balboa Park, enjoying the sunny San Diego weather. My phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. You changed the locks, didn't you? It wasn't a question. It was a statement. The first hint that he was starting to piece it together. I didn't reply. A few hours later, another text from a different unknown number. My mom told me what you said. About the money. About her. Her. Not Genevieve. Just her. He still didn't want to name it. I still didn't reply. Then just before bed my phone rang. Unknown number again. I picked it up. Just to hear him. My voice was calm. Hello. His voice was shaky, quiet. Broken. You knew. It wasn't a question. It was a realization. The full, brutal weight of it hitting him. Yes, I said, my voice barely a whisper. I knew. How long? He asked. Long enough, I replied. You buried this marriage with your own mouth, David. Remember that. Silence. A long, desperate silence. I could hear his ragged breathing. I wake up every day regretting it, he finally said, his voice barely audible. Good, I said and hung up. I blocked that number too. It wasn't the neat, tidy ending you see in movies. There was no grand confrontation, no dramatic monologue from me. Just that quiet, devastating confirmation. He finally understood. He finally knew that I knew. I'm still here in San Diego in my apartment, which feels like mine again. Empty but not desolate. Peaceful even. The divorce is messy financially, emotionally. But I'm not sorry. I'm not healing or moving on in some Instagram perfect way. I'm just living. Minus the chaos. Minus the lies. Minus him. Some people might say I was cold. That I went too far. That I should have just confronted him. But honestly, I'd do it again. You can only be the good wife for so long before you realize sometimes you have to get a little petty. A little savage. Just to survive. If you're reading this and thinking I went too far, maybe I did. But he started it. He buried it. And I'm certainly not digging it back up. Thanks for reading, Internet Strangers. If you see a guy named David in a bar looking lost and confused, maybe buy him a drink. Or don't. I'm busy living my own life.